Through the Mayhem, the Silently podcast series, bringing marketing industry leaders together to discuss the ever-shifting media landscape. Learn about the ins and outs of real-time marketing, influencers, data privacy, technology, and so much more. All from industry experts with real experience, giving you the real answers. Now, let's break through the mayhem.
Welcome to Breaking Through the Mayhem. We have an exciting episode today with Brian Albert from Google. What a guy. You've been at Google for a long time, over a decade now.
Are you saying I'm old, Adam?
Nah, not yet. Not yet. We may get there at some point. Tell us a little bit about that, how you've been at Google for a long time, what's kept you so energized. And listen, getting to know you, got so much energy, always a smile on your face. What's going on over there?
Listen, for me, it always starts with the passion. Like, I need to have fire burning in my belly. That pilot light needs to be on and bright. And for 15 years, I've been super passionate about YouTube's mission to give everyone a voice and show them the world. And I've loved having a front row seat as our platform has evolved from a desktop video platform to the largest CTV platform in the US. And I love with all of our new creator AI tools that this idea of every YouTube creator becoming a next-gen Hollywood studio, like, it's never been closer than it is today. It's never been more real. And the last thing I'd say is, and you and I talked about this the last time, like, I love my team. Like, they literally inspire me every day to show up and be the best version of myself. They're so passionate and determined to just do the best we can for our partners and clients. And I'd honestly run through a brick wall for them, which fortunately they have not asked me to do just yet.
You never know.
You never know.
I love that. For me, one of the things that's caught my eye with you specifically is that you're in the middle of some of the biggest shifts obviously going on YouTube, right? NFL Sunday Ticket, YouTube TV, CTV. What do you think that marketers still misunderstand about YouTube's role in this ecosystem? And what excites you so much about what you're doing in those worlds? They're just, for me, they are the coolest.
Listen, we've had to spend a lot of time educating our clients about the roles that creators play in their marketing plans, because it's not a natural muscle. And I say over the last several years, we've really worked hard to simplify and streamline that process as much as possible. So I'm going to try this on for you because we've literally been workshopping this week. So if you're my client, Adam, this is how I'd answer the question it feels like we get all the time now. How do I work with YouTube creators? I'd say pick a big cultural or brand launch moment you care about. Like, let's start there. That then gives us the ability to develop a creator strategy and pick top creators, up and coming creators, which makes sense for your brand. From there, we can help you build a library of creator assets, from creator ads where creators star as talent in ads, to show integrations where we integrate brands into creator content, to branded shorts where our shorts creators will mention brands in organic content that ultimately gets boosted. And you can run all those assets in high impact formats. YouTube Select, which has been around for a while, represents our top 1% of YouTube channels. We also offer 100% share of voice opportunities, which we call takeovers, and really high share of voice against AI curated video playlists, which we call spotlights. And for clients that want to wrap everything up in a bow and work with one or a few creators on a long-term category exclusive basis, like, we can help there too. And we've already put together some really interesting deals between Destroying and Nike, Xfinity and Dude Perfect, Lexus and Colin and Samir. And I just think that's going to continue to expand as our clients recognize that creators are today's sports celebrity, Hollywood star, endorsement spokesperson.
I'm buying.
You buy him?
Buying, yeah, for sure. I love it. I mean, listen, not only does there's obviously YouTube be a big center of what we do in our world here at Sightly, but the reality is YouTube's the center of almost everybody's world now. And it's become a part of literally just culture and how people show up.
We
And I
said this,
thought
we're the epicenter of culture.
I completely
At
agree.
Brain.
And from my perspective, like when you look at what you guys did with the Brazil game,
Yep.
that caught my eye. Right? Can you talk a little bit about that football game, what that meant to you, what that meant to YouTube, and kind of how you think about that?
I mean, it was a massive adrenaline rush. From the day we signed the deal to the day the game aired, it was a 100-day sprint, start to finish, where every day literally felt like a marathon, truly. And in the end, we sold out the game in 2 weeks.
It's crazy.
Our product and engineering teams delivered a flawless 1080p stream, which was a Herculean effort from a standing start. We exceeded our audience estimate by drawing 18.5 million AMA, average minute audience in the US, 19.7 globally. We had really strong advertiser interest, Verizon, Inspire, Lucid, and others. And we, were able to bring our creators into the fold through various segments: Mr. Beast, Destroying, Michelle Khare, Speed, Marquez Brownlee, and others. So, we had to run water through the pipes, especially if we're going to look to build on the momentum that we created with this game. And I would say, based on all the things we were hoping to learn, it was a really positive experience, especially given, what we've been able to do with NFL Sunday Ticket over the last couple of years. I mean, I know you're a big NFL fan. Like I love being able to pick the 4 games I want to watch with our multi-view feature, which continues to be a big hit, and toggle between that and Red Zone on any given Sunday.
It's amazing. I mean, did you get a chance to go or you didn't?
I didn't go. Honestly, I was so nervous. I wanted to sit on my couch and just make sure that every ad break, every in-game sponsorship, every billboard, just delivered.
I know that feeling where you just sit there, you're like, come on, make sure I put so much effort into it. But you know what's crazy is I don't think what you guys have done has even, in my eyes, been felt yet. I think the future is what you guys did there, right? Bringing those experiences, helping people that don't always get the chance. I thought one of the beauties of it that's not spoken about much is people that couldn't afford to see a lot of these things had a chance to have that moment as well, right on their platform. I really appreciated it so much.
I mean, I think it was a big deal that we decided to put it in front of the paywall.
It was unbelievable, truly. And the fact that
We had people literally streaming from 230 countries around the world.
just think about that.
That.
Think about if you when you first walked into all this 15 years ago, right? Just to spike that ball the way you felt in that moment. I think you should really, sometimes I know you're getting to know you. You're always that next move, next big win, but appreciate that, Brian, when you get a chance, because it's something that I think will be talked about into the future. Shifting gears a little bit, getting to know you, and seeing you've been in a lot of different roles within Google. and seeing different things, and you love your team, right? And I think that's one of the things that inspires me when I talk to you. Tell me a little bit about like how you coach and how you show up every day to help them.
Listen, at this stage in my career, it's really about empowering that next generation of leaders. And when I had this incredible once in a career opportunity about a dozen years ago to stand up our YouTube deal team. So we've been now negotiating our YouTube upfront for the past 12 cycles. And then about 6 years ago to merge 3 internal creative services teams into what's now Creative Works. I mean, that to me was a once in a career opportunity to do those 2 things inside of Google. And we've had, the same playbook that I got from one of my early managers and mentors, John Nicoletti. So shout out, John. And he said, listen, if you're going to build a new capability inside of Google and inspire your team, you have to adhere to these 4 principles. So I'm going to share it with you, Adam. You tell me how this resonates as a CEO. One is focus on a simple iterative strategy. Too often we get distracted, spread too many bets around, and just lose sight of the few things that can drive the greatest possible impact. So I love the book Essentialism, and I preach that to my team every day. Let's just focus on fewer, bigger bets so that we're driving the greatest possible impact to our clients and our business. Number 2, all about flawless execution. And just making sure that we know what success looks like and we're able to measure on a weekly basis how we're trending toward that marker. Number 3 is just showing up every day with a healthy dose of humility because things are so complicated right now, and we work across a cross-functional network of teams, and nothing meaningful ever gets done without a small army. So you can't, take credit for every win. You have to be that arm in the picture and just show up with humility. And last but not least, it comes back to team and the high performance culture dynamics that you try to build so that literally every person on the team is able to take risks and be the best version of themselves so that they're ultimately contributing to their highest potential. And every single year I go back through those 4 principles to just sense check, like, are we really living these values? And if not, what do we need to do to course correct?
That's awesome. I mean, how did you originally adopt it? You obviously your mentor worked with you on this. Or was it like a workshop, just something that was coached to you?
It was
Some
it's actually a funny story. So I get tapped on the shoulder to build out this central deal team. I fly to San Francisco. I sit with John in a conference room without windows. He puts up a slide, and on the slide are a bunch of logos. And he's like, do you know what the common thread is across all these logos? Now, mind you, pre-Google, I'd worked at 3 startups, which all failed. So this is sort of my 4th attempt, albeit in a well-funded startup, Google. And he's like, what's the common thread? And I'm like, John, I don't know. I don't even recognize a lot of these brands. He's like, exactly. These are all teams that tried to start at Google, a new capability, and they failed.
Wow.
We do not want to be one of those logos. I'm like,
He comes in, he's like, "I'm showing you the failures, so you don't you're not walking out of this room thinking that way."
and what he said, which again, it's those 4 principles. He's like, I've studied like why these teams failed. He's been at Google for over 20 years. So, I respect him more than most. And he's like, if we adhere to these principles, we're going to be okay. And I literally, I mean, they're just
They're embedded in you.
inscribed at this point in my mind, because I keep going back to them year after year.
Let's dig into one of them a little bit, actually, humility, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do you try to practice that and coach that, knowing that that's a hard thing to coach? How do you dig into that?
You have to check your ego at the door, like every day. And you have to put your partners or clients' best interests at the fore. Yeah, I'm a super competitive person. You and I talked about
Just good.
this. Like whether it was playing Chutes and Ladders with my 5-year-old back in the day, or fantasy football, or Tuesday night paddle tennis with a bunch of weekend warriors. Like my tennis coach talked to me way back when about, second place being the first loser. And that mindset has just been ingrained in me ever since. But with business, it has to be different. It can't be a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
Like we've been negotiating our upfront deals for the last 12 cycles. If it was all I win, you lose sort of mentality, you can never build long-standing, durable partnerships. Both sides have to win. And that took me a little bit. And I think it started with just humility and respecting your partners and the opportunity, and just making sure that everyone on my team views it the same way. Like we can still be competitive and want to show up well in market, but it can't be at the expense of our partners and our clients' success. We always win when they win first.
I love that. I mean, ultimately, a lot of what you're getting at is learning, right? Learning and iterating, learning and iterating. And how do you learn the best for people to learn out there from you?
So I made a big change coming out of COVID, where I feel like all of us were scheduled like back to back. Like every day was just a barrage of meetings.
And then you're like, I got to do my work at night now. I'm just in.
Right, nights and weekends. And I'm like, this is just not sustainable. And I felt like I was being so reactive. I could never get on my front foot. So I worked with my AVP to audit my calendar. And and the goal was, in a typical 40-hour week, when most of the meetings happen, I wanted to cut out 50% of them to get down to no more than 20 hours of internal meetings, so that I could make time to actually meet with people externally.
Right.
And equally important, just have deep thinking time. Because that's honestly, Adam, where I learn the most. I'm reading, I'm processing, I'm thinking. That first principle, simple iterative strategy, you can't iterate your strategy unless you're constantly making room to pressure test, like what's working, what's not working, what would you change. I heard this podcast yesterday where the founder's advice was to just seek permission to be less stupid with his team. Like if you come up with a better idea, like just go with it and bring people along, but don't wait like another year for annual business planning to make the change.
I love that. I mean, I think that kind of brings us to the annoying question, right? How are you inserting AI in your life to help you learn more?
I mean, Gemini for me is such an amazing tool.
Amazing.
I think I'm barely scratching the surface. Um,
Don't you feel like that's a place where you want the ability to just have time? Like that's one of the things that goes through my head a lot lately. Like just getting time to learn how to use all these tools, getting better with them. making yourself more efficient there as you move into the future?
Yeah, because it's got to get beyond just like the experimentation phase. Like when we launched Nano Banano a few weeks ago, like it created this zeitgeist moment, and everyone, myself included, was playing with the tool. But then you have to figure out, how does this like integrate into your workday to make you more efficient, effective? And that's what I'm still tinkering with. Like it's easy for me to take like all this upward feedback from my direct reports, put it into Gemini and ask for the top 3 things I do well, or the bottom 3 things that I need to work on. Or when I'm preparing to interview someone else, like if we were flipping the script and I was interviewing you, like I can ask Gemini, I'm hosting this podcast with Adam Katz, and I know he's been out there a lot. Like, give me a list of questions that are going to be fun, entertaining, educational. And I'm just amazed at what I get back, because it's literally, you know, scanning everything you've ever said or done that's public facing.
So cool. It takes a lot of that original thought that you had to think too much. It gets you there, and then you can start iterating. So getting more to you here down the stretch a little bit personally that I like to think about. Knowing you're a big sports guy, who's your favorite athlete of all time and why?
Um, I mean, that's an easy one. So I went to Michigan, and
Oh, here we go.
I've lived in Boston for over 20 years. So
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Um,
And he defines everything you're saying. I mean, so that makes complete sense. Winner, all about excellence.
all that.
What about the humility part, though? I don't know about Tom in that one, huh?
Listen, he sacrificed pay for his teammates.
It's true. It's
He
true.
always put the team first.
No,
So
Brady, I mean,
just
Brady is obviously one of the best of all time, and a guy that people didn't think was gonna be the best of all time. You're talking 6th round pick. All the measurables weren't supposedly there. He was a backup at your school.
he
Yeah.
barely played. He barely played at Michigan.
Y Drew Henson, the Yankee third baseman for a second, was actually the quarterback for a while Brady was there, and what's crazy is, like, how he bursted out like that. I love that. That's an awesome answer. Another question I like to ask a lot of the guests, if you can go to dinner with one person, they have to be alive, and they can't be in your family, who would it be?
Not named Tom Brady.
Not named Tom Brady. Let's get rid of Brady now. Who would be number 2?
Um, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I don't want to give you just like the first name that comes to mind. I'm trying to dig a little deeper for you, Adam. Give me a second. Who would you dine with?
Who would I go to dinner with? See,
Yeah.
this is why I asked the question the way I do, because it would always be my dad who passed away 1,000 times, so I don't wanna that's why I say it can't be not alive and it can't be family, because I wanna make sure not to force that answer. But if I can go to dinner with one person, it would be I know it sounds generic, Michael Jordan. I would love to just sit with him for a couple hours and understand that just whole mindset
I've
of
got a good Michael Jordan story for you. I'm gonna buy some more. I actually like Jordan, so I'm gonna join you at that dinner. I think we'd have a great conversation.
Alright, let's do it.
So in the early days of my career, I worked for a sports marketing agency, Advantage International, which is now Octagon, part of IPG. And we were at it was a Washington, Seattle basketball game. So I think back then it was the Bullets and the Sonics. Okay. So I'm really dating myself. And we represented George Karl, who was the coach of the Sonics back
Of
then.
course.
And it was one of those typical midweek NBA games where home team goes up by 20, visiting team comes all the way back. It goes to overtime, home team wins. We end up going down on the court afterwards, and we're having a conversation with Coach Carl, and we're just asking like what happened there. And he said a couple things that were just super profound, especially as a sports fan. Number one, and remember, this was 20 years ago. Number one, how difficult it is to truly coach professional basketball players or any professional athlete who's making that amount of money, right? You become less coachable when your livelihood doesn't depend on it. And number two, when we were talking about the seesaw nature of the game, he's like, that happens when you're not giving like 100% on every single in every single minute of an entire game. And he compared that to Jordan, who said was obviously naturally gifted, but Jordan gave 100% every minute of every game, whether it was Tuesday night on the road or Sunday in prime time. It did not matter like how bright the lights were. He just brought it.
I love that. I mean,
And
they're both North Carolina men, so they would definitely understand that. That's an amazing story. So what's your answer here to close us out?
I said I'm joining you with
You're
Jordan.
just coming to hang out with Michael. All right.
I'm gonna hang out with MJ with you. I
What
still
kind
think he's
What kind of food we getting?
you know what? I think we'll go to Michael Jordan Steakhouse and we'll have some nice steaks
I
and some
like it.
good cocktails.
I love it. Well, listen, Brian, this was a pleasure. Thank you for taking us through your mindset, a lot of what you're doing over at Google, YouTube. I'm inspired. I'm going to rewatch this and I'm going to take some of your principles that you taught us today and bring them back to our team. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
I appreciate it, Adam. Good
Take
to see
care.
you.
Hey, I'm Chris, one of the producers for Sightly's Breaking Through the Mayhem podcast. We want to thank you so much for subscribing to the show. If you'd like to learn more about the guests we had on today, we included additional information about them in the show notes. Finally, if you'd like to be on the podcast, or if you know someone who'd make a great fit, you can fill out the form at sightly.com/podcast. Catch you on the next episode.